Shane, it's a pleasure meeting you.
Derek, likewise. Thanks so much for having me, and thanks for the support with the film.
No, awesome. I was able to interview Giles, and I mean, what a firecracker of a man. That was fantastic. And of course, I watched the movie, loved it, was very entertained by it. And I guess I just wanted to start out with, so it was a very personal film for him. The story he
Mhm.
told me was just, I was blown away, totally unexpected. Was this a personal project for you as well, or was it a new challenge you wanted to tackle with a war film?
Yeah, so great question. I come from a military family. My grandfather was General Patton's aide. This was originally like in Time magazine.
Oh,
So this is my
wow.
grandfather arriving off of Normandy. So I saw this in a grocery store 2 or 3 years ago, and I grew up with this picture, and so yeah, it was important to me to just honor my grandfather and others like him. So I've directed a lot of action films, and it been offered other war films, but this one was near and dear to my heart for sure.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So, were did you study a lot of military tactics? Did you immerse yourself in that aspect of it?
I did. Went back to the, Saving Private Ryan and Fury and Sisu and all these films, and just kind of, how are they shot? Like, the color scheme, like how did that play? And, I've done a lot of action films. But, this was a whole new level. I mean, when I do a lot of these action films, The Best Man with Luke Wilson, and I just did a
Yep.
Dolph Lundgren, Michael Jai White film, finished a couple of weeks ago.
Awesome.
And it's normally one on one or, 2 on 1 or whatever it may be. But this one, I mean, we had one or a couple of days where we had 150 stuntmen and extras on set. And it was important to just not, um, to show that there's actually 150 guys
Yeah.
there, and not just like, okay, we've killed you over here, and now we're gonna bring you over here, and it's just, oh, that's the same guy, that's the same stuntman guy. It was like, no, these guys, it's not John Wick where they're wearing masks and you can just repurpose guys.
Yeah.
This is World War II. You're seeing their faces. So you're doing, if they're coming up on you and sneaking up on you, we're not going to see that person again in this film. So we kind of pulled from all over.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just imagining the challenge because it feels like a big movie at times,
Mm.
right? Lots of people running around. These poor soldiers are doing the impossible on the American side and just digging in, and there's a lot of loss on their end, of course, but of course don't want to give away too much. But
Yeah.
just to jump to that, in terms of the cast itself and whatnot, like I said, I had an interview with Giles, excuse me, which was great. How did you build camaraderie on the set with the group, right? Because there's a lot of interpersonal connections here, individual stories. What was that process like for you?
Well, when I came on board, the only actor that was already on board was Kelsey. So I said, I'll do it, but I get to choose the cast. So Pooch Hall, Jalone Vanover, I've known those guys 20, 25 years.
Wow.
And I've worked with Jalone several times, who plays Stubbs. Pooch, I've known, one of my closest friends. We've always wanted to work together. And then I went in and, Joe Anderson, friend of a friend. William Mosley, who my kids love the Chronicles of Narnia films, and I knew of him, and when his name came across, it was just finding these right guys, and bringing these guys together was important to bring them in early, and also it just became like we became a family because we didn't shoot in Atlanta or somewhere else, LA. We were all showed up there, without any spouses. We all showed up in Sofia, Bulgaria, and then
Wow.
we came in early, and then at the end of every day, we all had dinner together, or we'd have drinks, or we'd go hiking, or go just touring around Sofia on our off days, and it just brought us, going to movies. Like we did everything together, and it just made it that much closer. And Roman, who plays the Nazi, you know, I had someone asked me like, "Did you keep him apart?" I was like, "No, like he was, they would want to kill each other, so to speak, on set. And then, God, I was like, okay, let's all go have a beer. Let's, it was because he didn't want to be left out because we were just having so much fun together. And, it's rare. I mean, I'm sure you do a set and you have one toxic person could just bring down the
Yeah.
morale of everybody. And this one, people wanted to be together. Like you said, some actors don't make it, they don't start the film and end the film. So it's like, oh, they're gone. But they were still FaceTiming. Like we'd be at dinner and like FaceTiming with a couple of the actors going, hey man, I wish you were still here. We're having a great time. We miss you. And
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, you're right. I've been in many workplaces, not too many film sets, unfortunately. But yeah, one toxic person can just ruin the batch. So great to hear you didn't have too many of those challenges. But you did mention Kelsey Grammer, and of course that's what grabbed my attention. When
yeah.
you think about Kelsey Grammer, you don't really action movies don't really come to the front of your mind, right? It's Frasier and Cheers, which I loved growing up. What was it
Mhm.
like working with him, and what was his experience like with the film?
Kelsey was amazing. I mean, he came prepared. I've had many directors, because anybody I cast, I want to make sure that you know they work well. With they come prepared, they show up, they don't just hide. And Kelsey, he showed up, and it didn't matter what your role was on the film or what where you were in the chain on the crew. He wanted to like, Derek, where are you from? Like how, want to hear about your family, want to talk. And it was such a pleasure. I mean, and he was in and out on, at the beginning of the shoot, and it would have been great to have him around because, just telling stories. And it's amazing that, he's such a distinguished gentleman. Like you would have thought he would have done more war films. And now,
Hmm.
I'm sure he will now after this one, but he's the perfect general and the perfect person to lead this group.
Yeah, yeah. No, he did knock it out of the park. I mean, he brought that gravitas. I love
Mhm.
to use that term, but he really just he did a great job throughout the film. Very inspiring, of course. But you've worked with big names before, right? I was looking at your filmography, and I mean, you already mentioned Michael Jai White, Dolph Lundgren. I mean, action
Yeah.
fan. Those guys are just so awesome. But you also did Bloodworth with Chris Christopherson and Val Kilmer and whatnot. What but I guess what I want to say is what lessons from your previous films really helped you make this film a success?
Yeah, great question. Just working with different personalities and just coming in prepared and having, knowing exactly kind of what I want. And I don't do 20 takes, but I'll do, what I do is I bring the actors on set, whether it's, like I said, just work with Michael and Dolph, and just I would bring those two on set first. And then like, okay, I'm not going to tell you where to stand or how to do these action sequences. You guys know how to do that, but just show me what you're going to do. And then we'll design the lighting and bring in everything else in around that. And it's important, the actors feel like they're just not like just this call, like, oh, you just want me to stand there and say my lines and fight and pull a gun. It's like, no, we have this huge space. Show me where you think you would go. And then I will design it around that. And I do that on every scene I do. It doesn't matter if it's two people sitting at a table or if it's a huge war scene in the middle of a valley. I will bring these main actors and say, okay, with Gilles, him and these guys, like they're up on the side of these mountains, and it's like, okay, here's this rock formation. Where would you go? This character well, and I'd hide behind this rock, and then work with the sun guy. And I hide behind this one. I'd go over here. Okay, then that's how we're going to shoot it. So they feel the actors feel invested, and it's important to me that they feel like they're not, just like, okay, stand there, say your lines. Like, no, that doesn't fly. It's a collaborative process, and from the stunt coordinators to the stuntmen and everything.
Mm.
you know i I was just on the set and the fight or flight, and I liked hanging out with the stunt guys. On most sets these guys are, the stunt crew, like they're their own like little world. It's like, no, I kind of gravitate towards those guys because I know the stunts are going to, in Murder Company or Best Man or Fight or Flight, like the action sequence are, that's what are getting people to show up. So let's make sure that it's as big as we could possibly make it, and let's try to show the audience something they haven't seen before. And, we've seen people sitting across from each other at tables. There's only so many ways you could shoot that, but there's
Yep.
many ways, like show me, with Dolph and Michael Jai White and Scott Martin on this last one, or, with this film, with this war film, there's, in Murder Company, we have these huge scope set pieces, but yet then we'll have Pooch fight one person. There's the abandoned hospital that we shot in, where it's like everybody, and we catered it to their specialties. And
Hmm.
it could have been easy to say like throw some punches or do this or do that. It's like no, Pooch comes from Golden Gloves, so like he's going to be a
Wow.
boxer. Gio's like he's more kickboxing, and Jalone can kickbox. So it's like they can do kicks where Pooch isn't going to do that. So I really wanted to cater it to these guys, and then let them go and work with the stunt coordinators and the doubles and everybody else.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Yeah, but just to one point you said, like just thinking about the geography of a film, that's
Mhm.
probably one thing that would be a huge challenge for me. Just how do you
Yeah.
keep it fresh? How do you make sure, you're not being too repetitious with what you're doing and all that? So that's great.
Yeah, I mean, there were sections. I mean, you've seen the film, so like we were driving to one set, and then we drove past this. There's a one section where they're just climbing over these massive boulders. There in one, and I stopped the truck. I was like, as we're driving to them, I was like, stop, get out. Like, what are you doing? I was like, we don't have time for this. Oh, we have time, because it feels so much different than anything else in the film, that I wanted to make it feel like they'd gone 100 miles, whether it's like, these abandoned hospitals. We were at the top of a ski resort. We were just, lush forest to, you know, these this farmland. I mean, it felt like it was so much bigger than, a 12-day shoot should allow.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Is 12 days a standard time for you, or did you push
I
for more
mean,
time? I mean,
for some reason it's becoming that. When, I started, it was like 25 days or whatever. And now I think my last couple of films, I mean, Best Man was 10 days, 12 days for
wow.
this film, 12 days for Fight or Flight. It was just, I mean, I don't know why it's going to that, but it's you're hurting the final product. But we were able to get everything we wanted for these films because we were
Yeah.
so prepared. But there's just certain things on, other films, you're like, man, I signed on for 14 days and now we're shooting it in 12. Like, I don't, you know, but yet they still want the same beats for action. They still want the trailer moments.
Well, that's incredible. That's an achievement in 12 days because again, so much is happening.
Yeah.
It's a full movie. I mean, that's incredible that you're able to wrap it up like that, um, and get it all down. Um, so I guess just to sort of keep going here, what was it like working with Dolph Lundgren? Like, how was that experience for you?
I've worked with Dolph twice now.
Okay.
Did it with the Best Man, and then I just worked with him again. And you know, Dolph's a director also.
Wow.
So it's he's done A Wanted Man, he's done a couple other things. So Dolph will show up with his opinions, and then I'll say, Dolph, okay, this, that's great. I'll try to incorporate some of that, but this is how we're gonna do it. Based on, because I'm thinking, he's thinking like bigger set pieces, he's thinking bigger fights, he's thinking this, and I'm thinking, okay, we have to get through our day, with also having this. So yeah, Dolph and I, we butted heads a few times, but I've worked with him twice now, and I'm, who knows, there may be another chance to work with him again.
That's
Uh,
awesome. That's awesome. And then Michael Jai White as well. Like he's such a legend. And
yeah,
I've had the opportunity to be in the same room with him, not necessarily meet him. But what was it like working with Michael Jai White on those films?
Michael's amazing. I mean, I cannot speak highly enough of him, and he is, uh, we know what he can do action wise, but he's also the guy's a genius. I mean, he could just show up on set, we change a few lines, and he just snaps into it, and he can do, he just elevates everybody in the room, and you want to show up on set to be around him. There's other actors you're like, oh goodness, we have him one more day or two more days, but Michael, you're like, oh, I hope he comes today. you know oh, this is his off day. Oh, dang it. But no, he's a pleasure, and that was my first of hopefully many with Michael. I mean,
Awesome.
he's a legend. I mean, he really is, and he raises everybody else's game up. And
Perfect, perfect. And just to our time is short, of course. And to go back to the movie Murder Company again, love the movie. What what
like,
what do you want people to take away from this film, or what do you hope people take away from it?
great question. Yeah, with the times we're living in politically, there's just so much going on around the world that people there's so much division, and this one is, it's the U.S. It's these guys coming together. They have one enemy, and we can all. It doesn't matter which side you fall on politically, or whatever else you're dealing with. We can all come together for a film like this because it's heartbreaking, and these guys have one mission, and I'm very thankful that it's coming out. There's only a couple of times I feel like this could come out. It's like Memorial Day, Labor Day, or 4th of July, and fortunately for us, July 5th is a great long weekend, and
Yeah,
come out then, and just bring people together, because I've shown current military, ex-military, the film, and they were brought to tears because they
awesome.
understand what it's like for these groups, these squads to come together and become like brothers. And
Yeah.
then what it's like if you lose someone. You know, I didn't want to deal with, it was important to me that once one of these characters dies, that you actually felt the death. It wasn't just like, okay, let's keep moving. That's, we need to bury this person. We need to take care of them because I'd want them to do the same thing for me. So I think it's that's kind of a long answer to your question, but I think, it really brings people together, this film.
No, no, that's great. And it's great to hear the seal of approval from the actual soldiers and whatnot. And I think we can end it there. Shane, thank you so much. Super appreciative. Very, very wonderful interview. And if you wish you the best of luck, wish the crew the best of luck, and
Thank you, Derek.
onward and upward.
Thanks, Derek. I really appreciate it. And thanks for all the support and helping getting the word out there. Truly
Abs-
appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure. Take it easy.
All right. You too. Thanks. See you.
This is Derek Scarzella. Thank you so much for watching this video. Just doing a quick outro. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Above all, we want to hear what you have to say about this video, this movie, what it meant to you. Also, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, of course, YouTube. Check out our website, actionagogo.com. And of course, you can check out my own novels, Knuckle Crackbone, as well as The Vicious Game. Links are all down below. We also have a merch store if you want to enjoy our glorious Action A Go Go electric logo, which is going to come right after this. And of course, again, thank you so much for watching. It's super appreciated. Hope you had a good time. I know we did. Bye.